Hi guys, my name's Adrian, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about when you're starting out on a job and the imposter syndrome and the fear and all that anxiety that people feel, and how to go about that, especially if you're a junior developer. And I think these are lessons that we can carry across, doesn't matter which level we're at, whether we're juniors, seniors, or just developers in general, starting at new jobs and going through that process where you're trying to get a grip of all the technology there isn't easy. As developers and designers, and even in different careers, I've found that starting a new job is hard, and it's overwhelming when you see just how much there is to know and learn. And when I was starting out, I know that I always had a lot of fear because I felt like I wasn't able to grasp everything there when I went to a new job. And a lot of the times I felt like I had this expectation that I needed to know everything or start providing value immediately. And this is a bit of a trap because it's a bit of a mistake. When we're hiring people, and now that I know that I'm hiring others, I don't expect them to know everything when they're starting out, and I don't even expect them to know it within the first week. I know that I've had some experience coming in from an IT background, and I've gone through a number of jobs now, and what I've learned is that those first few weeks when you're on a job are scary because of the fact that it's so overwhelming, and there is this feeling like you do need to be able to start working immediately. But the very first 3 months for any job, I believe, are just a learning curve. And this is at all levels. So this is if you're a junior developer. If you're coming into IT, or even if you're coming into a management role, those first 3 months are learning about the company and how they do things, the code base, and how to go about properly pushing out features. A lot of the times you will have someone there to help you out because they're there to be able to train you during those first 3 months. So you don't have to feel that pressure for the first few days even to be able to perform. Now, when I was starting out in my development journey and even in my IT journey, I was very lucky because my very first couple of jobs were working alongside some of my great friends, and this meant that I had someone to talk to during the whole period when I was working, and if I had any questions, it felt really comfortable. So I asked those and I didn't have a problem. It built up my confidence when I was starting out in those jobs. But I do remember that very first time when I got a new job in consulting, and this was without any of my friends there, and it was in a completely new area where I was working with bigger clients, and I remember how scary that was. I felt like I had no one to ask any questions about it, and if I did ask those questions, I also felt like I might be showing off that I'm not capable. And this put me into a limiting factor where I essentially was trying to hide, and I didn't want to really show off that I was a little bit ignorant. And of course, we're all ignorant when we're starting out at a new job. We don't know what's going on, and we need to be able to ask those questions. So it's really important when you're starting out at a job that you actually do ask those questions. I found it much easier to do that when I was working alongside my friends in my first few jobs, but a lot harder when I was working almost alone and it felt like I didn't know anyone at new companies. But it's a lesson I've learned now. And it's a lesson where that if you are starting out at a new company, you should ask all those questions that you have, because those first few months when you're in that new position are those time sensitive areas where you do ask those questions. You do learn about the company and how they work. Now, the next part about this is the part about being productive. And productivity doesn't mean starting to work immediately. It's about working efficiently and how the company expects you to work. I know that in development, when I started out, then I wasn't really sure how to be productive. I had my own way of doing things, and it's not actually good to start doing things your own way when you're doing development, especially in a new company. What's really important is being able to sit down and shadow some of the people you'll be working with and have a look at some of the coding techniques they're using and some of the principles they're applying, because every company and code structure for each project is a little bit different and they'll follow different standards. So during this new period, when you're starting out, it's important to be able to follow those same standards. And this first initial part where you're starting at a company is where you get to be able to do that. after 3 months time is when you can start actually doing the work. And if you take that first 3 months not to worry about whether you feel like an imposter or you don't know what you're doing, if you take that time to really learn, you'll be a lot more capable at the end of it. You'll also show that you really care about the company, you really understand and want to know and grow. And this means that you'll be a lot more capable at the end of the day too. But the other aspect about this is that so many people don't ask those questions, and what ends up happening, and I've seen this time and time after again, is that they'll go into a job and they won't ask those questions. They won't know what's going on and they'll be too scared to ask. And within a week, they'll leave. They'll quit on their own simply because they felt so overwhelmed. And I don't want you guys to be able to do that. I want you guys to be able to feel comfortable learning the ropes. And then once you do, after a few months, then you can start actually working. A lot of companies will assume that you won't be working for those first 3 months, so don't worry about it at all. Just take that time to learn and develop. Anyway, my name is Adrian, and I love doing videos around design and development, so if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.